The Sentry. Okay, so now that I have your attention, today we're going to cover a version of the Sentry who, in my opinion, should be the most powerful version we have seen of this character. Today we're going to look at the Sentry, Horseman of Death. What's going on, everyone? Park Life Nerds back with another video. Let's get into it. Alright, so this version of the Horseman actually come from the Apocalypse twins and not Apocalypse themselves. Now, hopefully I don't butcher their names, Ural and Ermin. Now, these two were the children of Archangel and Pestilence, who was one of the Horsemen at the time. They were abducted by our good friend King the Conqueror, who raised them basically as his own until, of course, they betrayed him, and both of them being evil, obviously turned to their evil ways. Their main goal was to turn on Kang and basically destroy everything he had ever worked on. And that is a brief introduction to the Apocalypse twins. The twins reappeared in the modern day. They basically intercepted a plan by the son of Apocalypse, aka Genocide. There's the actual son of Apocalypse there, who was in the middle of basically trying to contact a celestial gardener to receive the Death Seed. The twins used 4th Jarnborn, which was the one that had been basically had a spell put on it so that it could cut through celestial armor. They kill the celestial and defeat Genocide. They obtain not only the Death Seed but the Life Seed as well from the gardener, and they use it to summon their own 4 horsemen back. But basically, instead of doing 4 different horsemen, they want to have their own 4 horsemen of death. Now, how is this for a lineup of horsemen? They had the Sentry, Banshee, Grim Reaper, and Wolverine's son, Daken, or Daken, however you would like to pronounce it. All of them would be known as the 4 Horsemen of Death. Pretty cool lineup, I'm not going to lie. So, you're probably wondering, how was the Sentry dead at this point? Well, this story happens after the most recent Ragnarok story arc, where in a moment where he's voided out, Thor's battling him, and he basically knocks him into the sun with, and that's, everyone presumes that he is dead up there, but it turns out while he's up there, his healing factor works, but it doesn't work, so he's fixing himself as much as he is dying, and that's how he, at some point, is basically dead. So yeah, they're able to bring him back to life. I forgot to mention, while this is all happening, the Void itself got bored of Bob and is like, well, if we can't go anywhere, I'm leaving. So he just, he left the Sentry behind and went off somewhere else at this time. So yeah, we now have an alive Sentry without a Void, which is an interesting concept. However, he is, affected by this Horseman magic. As mentioned, his powers are magnified by the Death Seed, and he was already a superhuman, so it's quite interesting to see what sort of powers he gets from this. The Apocalypse plan to basically wipe out all the mutants, and these new horsemen are part of their plan. However, the Sentry himself still believes himself to be a good guy, despite all the complications of the Death Seed, and the things he's doing he believes are right. He does attack the Avengers, almost for retribution to what happened and his previous death. There's a bit of a confrontation with Thor, but overall I think they end up managing to overpower him in this situation before anything gets too out of hand. And so what happened to Blue Sentry that we basically don't see him anymore, and how did he come back to normal, and how did we get the status quo, as you always have to get back to in Marvel Comics? Well, snap back to the Apocalypse twins, who they basically framed the Earth for the death of the Celestial Gardener who they had killed, which meant the Executioner Celestial was on the way to seek revenge. They planned to eliminate, basically get the Earth destroyed, and all futures basically that their adopted father Kang possibly had. So basically, to prove how strong he was at this point, there was 2 people sent up to battle the Celestial. They were the Blue Sentry, with his Death Seed power, and the X-Man Rogue, who had absorbed pretty much all the powers of the heroes on Earth as she can do. So you think that's the two best options they had? They had Rogue, aka everybody, and the Sentry. So they basically managed to fight the Sentry long enough for Thor to find his axe, and he goes up into space and uses that celestial killing axe to kill a celestial. After this, the Sentry takes the dead body into space so that no other Celestials would find it and find out that Earth had killed another Celestial, or as they believed had killed another Celestial. And he viewed himself basically as the Earth's cosmic protector from this moment on. So he had hidden this Celestial. Earth went back to normal. They forgot about the Sentry for a while. Now in later comics, Doctor Strange finds the Sentry just roaming around as he does. He uses his magic to remove the Death Seed, and it leaves us with basically a Sentry with no Void and no Death Seed. So he's basically just Bob with powers. There's a bit more happening after that. He ends up getting the Void back, as you do, because again you need another status quo moment. But yeah, that was the story of the Blue Sentry, the Horseman of Death. Now, in my opinion, this version of the Sentry, hands down, should be the most strongest version. He didn't have a Void to cloud his mind. Yes, the Void is an amazing, strong being, but he had all his powers magnified by the Death Seed. He was superhuman strength, super speed, energy manipulation, flight, physicality, matter manipulation, all that sort of stuff, and it was all heightened purely because of this seed. Imagine, I've always wondered what would happen if, when Apocalypse makes his Horseman, if he gave powers to someone almost on par with him, would it make them stronger? Much like, there was a story where Thor got basically Galactus gave him the cosmic forces, and he got powers as well, and was a herald of Galactus. But at what point would the herald become stronger? That's my theory around some of these Horsemen that we get. And there you had it, a bit of a ramble about the Blue Sentry, but a version I only recently read about, and I really do enjoy this version. The concept of Horsemen in X-Men stories has always been interesting to me, so yeah, to see it breach out and be people who aren't X-Men, say, like, I know the Hulk's been one in the past, that would be a good list, my favourite Horseman. But the Sentry, hands down, Blue Sentry would have been an amazing character.